Hi there, Dr. Dan here. Welcome to That's My Farm. Today we're going to take a trip to the Downey Ranch, and you're going to get a behind-the-scenes tour of what it takes to run a successful registered Black Angus ranch. We're going to learn how this family cow-calf operation has evolved into a seed stock production company, learn a little bit about their annual production sale, and learn about how they've even started a calving specialty service. This is a great opportunity to get out and go and work in their office. Stay tuned and enjoy the show and your trip to the Downey Ranch.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome to That's My Farm. In this week's episode, Barb Downey and her husband, Joe Carpenter, are going to discuss the history of the Downey Ranch.
We started this particular ranch in 1986 when I got out of college, and Joe and I started dating right after that. And when we got married, Joe left his job at the university and came here full-time. And we started with what's called a commercial cow-calf operation. And those are just the everyday cows you see out in the Flint Hills and in any part of the country really, whose job it is to just have calves, and that generates the beef supply in the U.S. And then in 1993, we also got involved in what's called the seed stock segment of the beef industry, meaning we breed and raise and provide the bulls and replacement females for neighboring ranchers to go back into their herds, bulls that they would use to sire calves with their cows, and then females that they would buy to go into their herd and become producing cows.
And in 2003, or prior to that, we had been selling the bulls private treaty, and in 2003 we had our first production sale. We partnered with some friends of ours, Kevin and Marianne Kniebel at the Kniebel Cattle Company. They have red Angus, we have the black Angus, so between the two of us we had enough to have a good production sale with the bulls, and that's where we are now, is in our sale ring. And we also sold each ranch sold 30 commercial heifers or pregnant commercial heifers at that time. And we've been doing that. We just had our 10th sale.
Our 10th annual production sale.
And we've been pleased with the results, and we'll continue to do that. One thing that makes us a little different than most is on our commercial heifers, we will calve them out for whoever buys those. There is an additional fee for that, but so we'll keep those heifers here, calve them out, and they'll get a live calf guaranteed as long as we do it.
I don't know of anyone else in the business that's doing something like that. And when you're calving heifers, for those that aren't stockmen, heifers, that means they have not had their first calf yet. And they are inexperienced. They haven't physically gone through the process, so sometimes giving birth is a little more difficult for them. If you're going to have problems, oftentimes it's with a first calf heifer just because of her lack of having gone through the process and her lack of experience. So as a result of that, part of our job as ranchers and when we're calving out these heifers for our customers is we are literally watching these heifers around the clock so that we can monitor whether or not the birth process is proceeding normally, so that we can step in if assistance is needed. And to do that, we're checking those heifers throughout the night every 3 hours, and then if we find something that is starting into labor, if she's very early in labor, we might go ahead and bring her into a pen so we can just watch her, check her. We want to see that she is making good, significant, and proper progress every hour. So we'll check on her every hour. If she is not making the kind of process that we think is necessary for her to get the job done and deliver a live, healthy calf, then at that point we will step in and offer assistance. And because we're doing that all night, and because it requires some experience and some knowledge of the process, That's a service that we can offer for our customers who may have an off-farm job, who may have limited experience with this, or they may be at a point in their career where they simply just don't want to do this and they're willing to pay us to do it for them.
Stay tuned and learn how Barb and Joe use genetic predicting tools to help their customers reach endpoints in their cow-calf operation.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Dr. Dan here. Whether I'm driving up and down the roads covering the state of Kansas or I'm getting between Riley and Manhattan for my job, I'm driving a Ford truck. I'd like you to come out and visit my friends here at Dick Edwards Ford. They have a truck that'll suit your needs, whether you're looking for power with a Power Stroke diesel or if you're looking for fuel efficiency with the new EcoBoost engine, they got a truck that's just right for you. They're located 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall in Manhattan, Kansas, and they'll bend over backwards to help you. And I'll see you. Hi there, welcome back to That's My Farm. In this segment, we're going to learn how the Downey Ranch uses genetic predicting tools to reach target-specific endpoints in their Angus cattle.
Well, we're standing in front of some of our bulls that were in our sale in November. Another thing we offer is to winter these bulls. Most people do their cow breeding in the summer and early spring or late spring, and so we're able to keep these bulls for them until they're ready to put them to use. These bulls are approaching 2 years old or are 2 years old now. And in our sale, we actually sell them as 18 to 20-month-old bulls. Some of those will go on to fall cows immediately. Fall cows means that those are cows that have their calves in August and September and sometime in the fall. So their breeding season is November and December typically. And more generally, for the spring calving cows, it's late May, June, and July is the breeding season. So that's what these guys are getting ready for now.
We started in the business with Angus cattle. Angus is what's called a British breed, developed in the British Isles, and they were primarily developed as a meat breed. And historically, and then with development of the breed using all sorts of modern-day selection tools, the focus of the Angus breed has been a good mother cow that raises a calf that will produce really high quality beef. And we use lots of selection tools in developing that high quality beef, including ultrasound analysis of cattle, and that data is then fed into a large database and analyzed for predictability so we can do a better job of selecting bulls that will help us produce really high quality beef like certified Angus beef, which is a target we shoot for. We're also using genetic prediction tools. We'll take genetic samples on all of these bulls, like these bulls you see behind me, and send that in. It's analyzed, and then again, that data is fed back to our breed association and used to improve the predictability of the genetics that we're offering. So when a rancher comes in and wants a bull that will help him possibly increase weaning weights and then the size of the ribeye for as an indicator of how much muscling his calves will have, we can point him in the right direction with a higher degree of certainty and help make sure that his valuable investment in an expensive bull takes him in the direction that he wants to go. Our seed stock partners utilize Red Angus, which came from the same base. They are just red in coat color instead of the black that we see behind us. And then their focus, the breeds have been separate for 60 to 70 years, and their focus is just a little bit different, but very much the same. But that lets our customers come in and just select from 2 little bit different gene pools so that, again, we can help them target what their desired endpoint is.
And within each breed, there's different types of bulls. Some of these are what we call calving ease bulls that will be used on heifers. They will have a lighter birth weight, and possibly the shape of the calf will be such that the heifer can give birth easier. And then some of these are have larger birth weight, and they're more for cows, and we'll have a little growthier calf maybe, and have a little more meat on the bone.
Some are carcass specialists, so if you need to improve the carcass characteristics of your herd, we can help you go that way. Some are what we might call maternal specialists, and we've put extra selection pressure on them so that they're more likely to go sire daughters that can handle the range conditions, that can raise a good calf every year, that their udder structure is such that it will hold up till she's 9, 10, 11, 12 years old and be a producing cow in that rancher's herd for a good many years.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply. Get ready for the Kicker Country Stampede presented by Verizon Wireless, starring Jason Aldean, Trace Atkins. 4 days of camping and country music at Country Stampede, Little Big Town. The Pistol Annies featuring Ashley Monroe, Miranda Lambert, and Angelina Presley. Country Stampede. Take advantage of our current pricing. Advanced pricing for a 4-day ticket is $135. Prices go up June 26. More info at countrystampede.com.
And now here's another gardening tip with Dave Jackson.
Did you know that dandelions can be killed in your yard with a product made by Fertilome called Weed Out, and you don't have to fertilize your lawn? So if you're worried about your lawn getting too high and too tall too quick with too much fertilizer, come in and ask for some Fertilome Weed Out without lawn fertilizer to kill your dandelion.
Our annual Mix or Match flat sale is underway. Plant 48 homegrown annuals for just $18.99. Save 35%.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Welcome back to That's My Farm. In this segment, we're going to learn about the philosophy and daily practices that go into making a successful day here at the Downey Range.
Our general philosophy and what Joe and I try to do every day in our job as ranchers is to make sure that we are doing the best job that we can by our physical ranch and our resources on the ranch, by the way that we treat and handle our cattle, by the way we manage our cattle, everything. We've got an eye to, can we do this better? Just because we've done it this way for 10 years, does that not mean that there's something better out there? So we're always kind of filtering and looking for better ways to do things, constantly reading, constantly researching. I know right now in this climate there is a lot of focus on antibiotic use and hormone use in beef cattle, and there's sometimes a misperception out there that we as ranchers and beef producers are using antibiotics to overcome poor management practices. And I'd just like to give everyone there a little bit of insight into how we use antibiotics on our ranch. First of all, we use it to treat a clinically sick animal. Way behind me, we've got a calf that has terrible scours, terrible diarrhea, and anyone with a baby knows that very quickly they can get out of whack and it can become a life-threatening situation if those conditions aren't treated. So we did in fact treat that calf for this infection under the supervision of a veterinarian. So we're using antibiotics in that way. Another way that we do use antibiotics on a daily basis in the summertime, we use a little chlorotetracycline in the mineral that we offer to our cattle. The minerals, just vitamins and minerals, like what I say, but we add some chlorotetracycline to that because we have an organism in Kansas called anaplasmosis, and actually throughout the whole Midwest, that can cause terrible anemia and death in cattle. To me, it would be like sending your kids into Africa without preventative malarial treatments. It's the same way for these cattle out grazing these Flint Hills. It would be irresponsible of me to go ahead and let these cattle develop a life-threatening illness, have to treat them with clinical levels of antibiotics when I can prevent them from getting sick in the first place. So that's another way we use antibiotics on the ranch. We do use some hormones judiciously in the development of our cattle, and the analogy to me there is fuel efficiency in your car. I can get you from point A to point B 2 different ways. In one way, I can use less gasoline, cause less environmental consequences because of it. The other way, I have to go slower, a few more, a little more waste in the environment, and I go, like I said, slower. So, the hormones that we use, again, have been well researched, well documented. We do go both ways. It's all dependent on what the consumer wants. But still, the largest driver for most people is the price of the product. And to do that, we work very efficiently and in a safe manner that is under the supervision of USDA and FDA.
About 10 years ago, we had an employee that introduced us to a low-stress handling system developed by Bud Williams down in Texas. And we've implemented that and wholeheartedly believe in it. We use it on every aspect of what we do here. From working newborn calves, we tag these calves at birth, dip their navel with iodine, weigh them, and we'll just rub them all over and let them know that we're not hurting them and that we are not a predator. And then a few months later, when we're weaning these calves, our facilities are designed in a low-stress manner also. We'll train these calves to follow each other, and we'll get them headed in the right direction and back off and just let them go. And we do have to run them through the chute to give them a vaccination, but we use what's called a bud box, which is kind of a dead-end alley where they walk down and have to come back and will just kind of naturally flow into where they need to go. So they're trained that way. As we're working these cattle out in the pasture, moving from pasture to pasture, we'll also use that system also. We'll just quietly move through, get them moving the right direction and back off and let them go. They're all quiet. If cattle are running, they're in control. So we try to keep everything walking along.
We'll apply pressure, we're asking for movement, they'll give it to us, and our way of telling them you just did the right thing is to remove that pressure, and they go, okay. They relax and they just keep going. And it's just like training a horse. I always say no one would ever expect to get on a horse that has not been trained to do what you want to do and expect to get a job done. Well, it's the same way with cattle. A little bit of training that they know the system. Here's the pressure, okay, start the movement, back off, I'm doing it right. Just a little, small bit of training like that goes a long way into handling these animals properly and with no stress.
After the break, we'll visit a rehab pond here at the Downey Ranch.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. And a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
This is the Fast Track. to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here, now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
I'm Dennis Tebow. My wife and I, Kathy, are the owners of Wolf Creek Cattle Company. We have grown to approximately 70 bulls.
I'm Reese Arnold. I'm the livestock manager at Wolf Creek Cattle Company. You know, these are not just like normal cattle. These cattle, they're hauled anywhere from, 8 to 10 hours a day across the United States and asked to perform. The Multi-Man 90 keeps them kind of level. It maintains and balances their system. The stress level's less when, when everything's right and working right, then they're working right.
Welcome back to That's My Farm, where we're going to wrap up our trip to the Downey Ranch, and we're going to go visit that rehab pond, which not only helps conserve the life of the pond, but makes it a safer place for cows to get a drink.
We're standing at what is called a controlled access drinking point, and what we've done here since we've been so dry the last 3 years is taken what used to be an old pond and rehabbed it into a new one. And this pond is going to be completely fenced off to the cattle except for where we're at right now, and also for another point on the other side. We made about a 4-to-1 slope on this area, and then laid down some geotextile fabric and applied 6 to 8 inches of a coarse rock on top of that. The geotextile fabric keeps that rock in place. It doesn't allow the cattle to mush it into the mud. It's also rough enough that the cattle will come in here, get their drink, and not mill around on it too much. They'll get their drink and go back out to grazing or somewhere where it's more comfortable to stand. But the important feature of it is that this is the only place that the cattle can get into the water. If they were able to go along a dirt bank, they would eventually push that dirt bank down and cause a big mud flat to form. Then they'd have to keep going farther and farther out into the pond, and the pond would keep eroding more and more, and eventually it would get unusable.
And then when you have a dry year like we're in, those mud flats become very dangerous places for the cattle, and places where they can bog down, get stuck, and then you are in a risky situation trying to free them that can become very dangerous to people and the cattle. So this will help us improve the life of the pond. It will help us control water quality. It will help us provide a real nice wildlife habitat situation. And it will help us have better water resources in dry years that are usable for everything: cattle, for recreation, for wildlife.
Yeah, the pasture we're in now is a real favorite of the prairie chickens around here. We try to maintain our pastures in the fashion that they've been done for hundreds of years. We do burn pastures. We also have a tree shear to keep trees, and we do spray some brush. This pasture, however, since it is a favorite of the prairie chickens, we probably will not be burning it this year.
One of the coolest things I think about our job is that we are so tied to nature and the cycles of nature and the seasons every year. And as ranchers, we're out here every day. And I think we're maybe some of the best bellwethers of the health of the ecosystem because we are so closely connected to it and we see it all the time. We're one of the first to know if something's off, and we're also one of the first lines of defense for our native wildlife, and we're not the exception. When Joe's talking about he's got a soft spot for the wildlife on the ranch, and we change our management practices to favor that wildlife, that's what all of the ranchers we know do. They're an important part of our everyday existence, and one of the things that we love about ranching, we raise our family here. This is our office. This will be our kids' inheritance someday, and we absolutely love this ranch, want to see it go forward in the future and be how it should be.
Thanks for joining us today on That's My Farm, and I hope that you enjoyed your trip to the Downey Ranch. If you want to know more about That's My Farm, you can find us on the web at www.agaminkansas.com, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.